So we're going to talk about Gemini. We know Gemini is the two faces, but Gemini can literally love and hate one thing at the same exact time. It's almost as if a Gemini tells you that they love you, simultaneously they're telling you that they hate you. Sometimes they hate you because they love you and they think that you got some type of a power or control over them and they don't like that. Geminis are also, they can be jokers and tricksters. They got a trickster energy to them. They live their lives like it is a paradox, or like they are Riddler's revenge. Okay, they are a riddle all within themselves. Geminis can be very cerebral and live a lot in their head, and they're the sign that is ruled by Mercury, and understand Mercury moves fast, and Gemini rules the hands, Gemini rules language, Gemini rules the lungs. So you got to understand all of those things have a dual nature. Hands can heal or kill. You know, you can make and break things with your hands. When it comes to the lungs, they function subconsciously as well as consciously. Your heart is all on a subconscious pattern, but the lungs, you can breathe in consciously, and other times it's just happening on its own. And language, you can say I love you, or you can say I love you, and those meant two totally different things. So naturally Gemini has this strong dual nature that could be quite tricky. Geminis can confuse themselves by the way that they think about things, and that's why they spend so much time in their heads, because they can feel two completely different streams of feelings on one thing. They can love and hate chocolate and tell you all the reasons why they love it and all the reasons why they hate it, and then they go back and forth in their mind, and their minds can be in absolute utter chaos. And sometimes their minds can be so busy, but there could be a disconnect from their minds and their mouth. And so when they're trying to explain why they think or feel the way that they feel about something, things can come out so jumbled up and just make absolutely no sense, but only to them. But then they can be self-righteous and feel as though you're stupid for not understanding them. Meanwhile, they don't understand themselves. Geminis tend to deal with an internal war. Most of the time, they are dealing with an internal war. So they're like literally the sign to why they have that saying, don't get into an argument with someone who is at war with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Geminis will be the problem to a situation, and then they will rally people to fight against the problem that they started and created in the first place. Very similar to Libra, like creating havoc and then hiding their hands, causing the damage and then hiding their hands. Geminis, we already know they are the sign of gossip. Geminis have a love-hate relationship with themselves. All the people in their life have a love-hate relationship with them because of the relationship with yourself. It sets the tone for all other relationships. Geminis, that dual nature that they have, because that's the biggest issue with Gemini. Of course, there's the highs, but we're not talking about the highs. We're talking about the darkness, right? With them having that dual nature, sometimes they won't really amount to nothing. They won't really make anything of themselves because they're going back and forth with how they feel about a thing. They can be the ones making something and then destroying it because they feel it's stupid. Geminis are the type, they have to hurry up and get something out, because if they're sitting on it too long, they're not going to complete it, or they're going to destroy it and feel like it is dumb because they love it and hate it at the same time. They often fall victim to over-promising and under-delivering to people. They promise they're going to be honest, faithful, and true. Then they end up flipping a switch and doing something completely different. I believe, Jeffrey Dahmer was a Gemini, so he loved and hated his victims. I mean, even through the way that he hated them was the way that he loved them, because he chopped them up and killed them and ate them because he never wanted them to leave him. He wanted them to be a part of him. Geminis can even be driving and create accidents because they're like, oh yeah, and then they'll switch like, oh no, let me go this way. Oh, da, 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 da. You know, just maneuvering like that. We say that Libras do that, and Libras are juggling their lives, but Geminis do that on a very high level and create so much of a nuance with being that way. They self-sabotage. They burn out. They can be dilettantes. They can speak about something and act like they know everything about that thing, but they only know a little bit of information, but they pretend to know more about a thing than they do. They can really have a bipolar effect about them in a huge way, very similar to Cancers. Cancers can be moody, but Gemini is even way more bipolar than Cancers. They will be really loving and nice to you, and you could be like, okay, cool, you know, we're gonna do this, da 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 da. You come back around and they're like, why are you here? I don't have time for this right now. Geminis can also be really unfaithful in relationships because they oftentimes feel like the grass is greener on the other side. They could be in a relationship with you and then feel like they would be better off being single or talking to somebody else or being in a relationship with someone else. And then they also have those same fears that they could even project onto their partner, feeling as though their partner is cheating, stepping out, or feeling like they would be better off with somebody else. Geminis suffer from feeling like people want them to be more than who they are. And that creates a level of insecurity within them. But then they have that internal war when it comes to them becoming better for themselves. Then they start to think that what they are trying to become is foolish and stupid and pointless. And then they go back to square one. Geminis also could be an absolute mess, not just messy. Them in their life can be a mess. Their houses can be messy, dirty. They have papers everywhere. Their documents are an utter mess. They can be dirty like Aquarius. I think Aquarius and Pisces could be like past dirty and disgusting more than Geminis, but Geminis can be very messy. Like they can have a lot of messes around. When it comes to Geminis, it is important that you all take care of your lungs. You take care of your hands and things. Y'all can break bones with the way that you maneuver and handle things. So you got to watch out for that. Geminis, well, they could have sleep issues too. And they also can oftentimes get into jobs that drive them crazy or work like night shift hours. Also, another thing about Geminis is they can be completely, utterly lost at what they should do in their lives. Like just not know which way to go, what to do, which direction to take, and then feel insecure about themselves in their loss of direction that they fall victim into just talking mess about other people. They could get jobs and then mess up things on the jobs and stuff. They could plan to plot and rob and steal from their bosses and all kinds of things, people that they work with. You know, they could be some of the biggest thieves of their workplace. They could also just be quite childish, really immature, really childish, especially in their communications. Also in relationships with Geminis, they can be very similar to Libra, but they can take on, in Pisces, in Virgos, they can take on your energy and pretend to be you behind your back at the same time. Okay, and a Gemini can be quite androgynous as well. They can take forever to get ready sometimes because they don't know which personality they want to put on for the day. That's why they're known as the jester and the clown. They just put their clown makeup on, put their masks on, and pull out their tricks, and they a mess on their dark side.